All right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's another beautiful Monday morning. Tunapatana tena to discuss sports na sana, as you can see, football. And today I am very happy that wameniekea meza sababu ndovu ni kuu and they believe Arsenal. Tuko karibu na meza. Of course, I'm not doing this alone. Niko na referee wangu hapa, Alfred Dinya, karibu sana. Yes, weekend imekuwa vizuri
kabisa.
We have seen very controversial decisions that we hope you shall give us the referee perspective.
Yes.
Sindio?
We'll do that.
Kuna penalty ilipatiana watu wakateta sana. Mbili actually in one game. Mara FC Leopards. All right? Okay. Kuna mtu hapa nafaa tumwambie sasa sijika mtu mmoja ni Musangarie ama ni wakiwa wengi because ako na safari, ako na barabara ya kuanzia number 15 aende 14 apande Crystal Palace kabla ajipate number 1. Fred Roach.
Mimi niko sawa.
Uko fresh?
Sisi hata the only thing we don't want ni relegation. Yes. But we cannot be relegated because kuna teams zingine pale chini kama Southampton and your candidates.
Right.
We are doing so well.
Okay. Between relegation na wewe ni 12 points. Between wewe na number 1 ni 31 points. Wapi unakaribia?
Relegation yes. But
hakuna but.
No. I have to explain.
Aya, wacha tukuje hapa wa Kenya International. Innocent Mutiso.
Wagwan.
Uko salama?
Kufiti kabisa.
Weekend imekuwa fresh.
Imekuwa fresh kabisa.
I see Arsenal inakufurahisha.
Arsenal inanifurahisha bana. Sasa hivi huwezi jua Malibao inatokelezea.
Si ndio?
Kabisa.
Anywhere. Leta Merino ba. No Havertz, no problem. No Bukayo, no problem. Lakini husband of teams inakuangusha.
Timu kubwa, timu ya baba bado kuna within a short of the title. Ukiangalia vizuri sana hiyo table, Gor Mahia iko na 35 points na number 1 Kenya Police iko na 41 points. But you see Gor Mahia have a game at hand which is against Kariobangi Sharks. So wakiweza kushinda hiyo game, watakuwa within 3 points of Kenya Police. So Gor Mahia is in contention, and ile kitu moja ni bamba sana na ligi ya Kenya this season is that it's too competitive. Sasa huwezi jua nani anaweza shinda kwa sababu even a team which is finding itself in a very unfamiliar position is FC Leopards, who are 2 points off Gor Mahia with the game at hand also.
Move of fire. It's very funny that when Gor Mahia have a game in hand, Mutiso wants to count it as 3 points. But when Liverpool had a game in hand, they said,
timu ya baba,
hiyo ni opponent.
La game at hand ya Liverpool, will drop points. Will drop 2 points.
Anyway guys, karibuni sana kwenye Monday Blitz. As you can see, it's going to be heated. And of course, we want you to be part of the show. Na kama kao tunaanzaga na swali, we want to ask you, because you've mentioned Gor Mahia. Do you think Gor Mahia are still the favorites to retain the FKFPL trophy? Ama kidogo Kenya Police have something to say about it? Sindio? Tuangalie highlights, alafu turudi tuipige. Move. Welcome aboard.
Jaza mchungi langoni. Eric Naman Balesho Babas. Anakosa nafasi Murua kulenga lango. Alimimina cross uzuri. Akashinda mpira wa kwanza. Jeffrey Chingo Court Simiti, lakini mpira kipata sasa nafasi. Bryson Jore Mwangai. Jaza ndani kule. Alionjoa ni Rambo wa Tusker. Kule naye Alphonse Aliomija, wote wanapanda kuweza kucheza set pieces. Free kick zote hizo na kona zote. Back kwenda kuileta, ameupiga kofi Alpha Chris Onyango. Sharif Musa Sirengo anaingia bado. Sharif SM7 leta ndani kule, anakachao ya nje. Alpha Chris Onyango tena anaingia ndani. Alpha Chris Onyango, Musa Sirengo aliekewa mali ile, akaingia ndani. SM7 kileta kama cross lakini akapangua Brano Ponjo Mondi. Alpha Chris Onyango tena akaenda kucheza box, yupo Dennis Siguma ba kupokea mpira ya pili, analeta ndani huku, hatari ile. Wanakosa hapa. Rano Gamu Wesley Rabo alileta ndani uzuri. Dennis Decha Wanjala ukamkuta peke yake. Nani alifaa kumkabili Rano Gamu Wesley Rabo? Alikuwa marked tu ndani.
All right. Let me remind you again, question of the day. Kama unataka join saa hii, we are asking you, do you think Gor Mahia are going to retain the FKFPL trophy this season? Ama Kenya Police have something to say about it? Ama hata FC Leopards, who Mutiso says are in unfamiliar territory, 2 points behind Gor Mahia. Do they have something they can do? Can they surprise us? because kuanzia 1998, that is a welcome surprise that we will all say, okay, Ingwe, you've been a fallen giant, but now, welcome back. Anyway, tuanzia Europe, alafu turudi, tumalizie nyumbani, si ndio? Of course, we start with Manchester United, who are sitting 15th in the Premier League table right about now. Injuries wako nazo kila kona. Yesterday, they had a bench that actually only one player in the bench had Premier League experience in Victor Lindelof. Hao wengine wote walikuwa teenagers kutoka academy, and unfortunately the coach did not trust his teenagers to bring them on. He brought the Arsenal player at the 91st minute, 2 minutes to go. The boy had no time to have any impact on the game. Anyway, tunaanza na wewe Arocho. What is happening with your team? You are 15.
No. You should refresh your...
Sikia, okay, si mimi ndo mwenye swali.
Okay.
Swali ni yangu ama ni yako? Okay. Aracho, ulivuta coach in Ten Hag, mkasema huyu hawezi. Then you brought in Ruben Amorim, who appears to be clueless more than Ten Hag. What is the issue?
You know, Manchester United is not like any other team that you can bring any bagger, for lack of a better word, na ingie kwa team.
Yes.
Who is Amorim?
Amorim was number
Amorim
one.
was number one in Europe.
In Portugal, with Sporting Lisbon.
Wasn't even number one in Portugal.
No, number one in Europe. The Champions League.
You are interfering with my airtime.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. Well, you know, I've not.
He's just about to start calling us A-class.
He's
about to start calling us.
Give him his time there.
Because why am I saying who is he?
Yes.
You know, Manchester United is not a team you could bring anyone. You have to bring in class. Yeah. You have to bring in results and consistency. You might say that Amorim is a good coach in Europe, but is he consistent in Europe, not in Portugal, where you want me to zero in Manchester United? You cannot put Manchester United in a hole.
He's consistent
compared to the coaches in Portugal. I'm talking about big teams, big moments, big coaches. All the coaches that have come,
yes,
the Ten Hags of this world, the Amorim of this world, who are they? Me, you know, where I have a problem with Manchester United. You cannot bring in a big coach wherever he comes from, place him at Manchester United. He's not a big coach anymore. Because look at the egos that he's handling. For example, Ten Hag, when Ten Hag was handling Manchester United, and then you bring in Cristiano Ronaldo, what do you expect?
Drama.
You expect that atakuwa overshadowed.
Yes.
And a coach as a father figure in a team must be bigger than the players. That's why I have few coaches who I can mention who can handle Manchester United. The moment Sir Alex Ferguson left, they brought in another clueless coach.
In David Moyes.
Moyes was not clueless.
He was clueless.
Moyes had taken Everton to number 5 in the league.
What is Everton? How do you compare Everton to Manchester United?
Everton could have just given us at the Premier.
What is Everton when you compare to Manchester United? I don't want to nionekane ni kama na brag.
I think Louis van Gaal was the right man for Manchester
United. But
Louis
Van Gaal came.
Was not given good time.
Louis van Gaal came when
Moyes was given 9 months.
He was done. Guys, there's no time at Manchester United. Yes, it took Sir Alex Ferguson more than 5 years to win anything at Manchester.
Yes.
But that was the building stage. Once the team has picked on, another good example of bringing in a bad coach is Bayern Munich. Look at what is happening at Bayern. The best that Bayern can win is the league, not the Champions League. They had to struggle and play in the playoffs. Where on earth could you imagine that Bayern Munich will play in a Champions League playoff?
But Real Madrid is playing on the playoffs.
That's also where I'm going. That's also where I'm going. For Man City, there are several other factors that are causing that. But let me go back to your question. Manchester United needs to reinvent themselves. And I think it will take 4 or 5 years for Manchester United to go back where it belongs. And that's the transition that Arsenal has done. They have gone through pains, and now you're seeing results.
It was a total overhaul.
You have to go through that, and you bring in a coach that is bigger than these players. Yes. So once again, for me, with the current team at Manchester United, we are doing so well. The only thing that I don't want to hear is relegation. But telling me that we've lost against Spurs
who has been losing
for
to
me,
everyone.
For me, it's not a big thing. It's not a big thing.
When a referee,
Yeah.
it was said Ferguson had favors from referees. That is why Manchester was enjoying so much success under Ferguson, because there were faggy time. And of course, you know, time near referee for game. So your coach, Sindio. So with whatever is happening at Manchester right now, who do you think takes the blame? Is it the management? Is it the coach? Is it the players? Because playing against Manchester appears to be very easy. Like yesterday, you could see Tottenham could take the ball from the... It was not an issue of whether the ball will get to the final third.
No.
The ball was getting at the final third. The issue was, will Onana stop it? Will it go out? They were just not clinical enough to add on to the goal tally.
I think there is a bigger problem in Manchester. There is a bigger problem that actually is reflecting in the field.
Yes.
That they are unable to hold small, I call them small teams, because Manchester, where it is supposed to be, it's not where it is.
Yes.
Being beaten by teams that you cannot even expect.
Yes.
So I think they have a bigger problem outside the pitch than the pitch itself. So it's actually a reflection of what the management of the team is. As my colleagues are saying, we need, if somebody can get to understand that, I think the managerial technical bench has an issue.
Yes.
Whether it's about the players and the fielding, there is a problem that is reflecting on the pitch. That's why they are unable to stop. I was counting passes to their goal. I mean, people are having 6, 7 passes before they touch the ball.
Yes.
It tells you that there's no team here.
True.
Yeah. So
And that was unheard of
Yeah.
when Manchester was Manchester United.
Mutiso, this guy has come in Amorim. He says, you know what, guys, you are in a bad phase, but things will get better. But what I'm not going to do for certain is that I'm not going to change. My philosophy is going to stick where I'm playing with 3 centre-backs. I have 5 and I have 3 again. All right? But the boys that he's using to play this system seem not to have an idea of what he's talking about.
I think this is something that I've been reiterating almost every Monday in this show, that the coach has to be flexible in his tactics. You cannot just go to England and expect to play teams that you are playing in back there in Portugal, teams like Estrela do Amadora, Victoria Guimares, and you expect them. You expect the teams in England, teams which are fighting for relegation, who will go to Old Trafford expecting only 1 point. A team like, let's say, Everton or Ipswich, they're only going for 1 point. They are not interested in 3 points. They're only fighting for relegation, and they want that 1 point from their relegation rivals. And you know, when you're fighting for relegation, or even when you're trying to contend for the title, you have to beat the teams that are in and around you, collect points from them so that you gain on them, or you push further away from them. So for Coach Amorim, he needs to be flexible. You cannot go in every other match with a 3-4-3 system. And he said he will stick with his formation. Albeit he doesn't have even the personnel. The personnel that he has at Manchester are not quality enough to play in the 3-4-3 system day in, day out. And you can see it's working against him. For Ange Postecoglou, he had to get, he was also stubborn, just like Ruben Amorim, saying he will not change his high line in every other match. And he was conceding too many goals with his high line. But then again, when he started being tactical, switching his play, not playing a high line, he's not collecting points. He beat Manchester United. I mean, Manchester United in that game, they conceded 22 attempts towards goal and 7 on target. When you look at this Tottenham side, before this Manchester United game, they played against Aston Villa in the FA Cup, and they conceded only 11. Manchester United, only 11 attempts with 5 on target against Aston Villa. Against Manchester United, Tottenham conceded 16 attempts with 6 on target, but no goal. You see, the problem which is affecting right now Manchester United is also the striking department. They are not potent enough. When you look at
not
Zaxi,
clinical.
they are not clinical enough, yes. When you look at Zaxi, he has 3 goals this season. When you look at Rasmus Holland, who came over £50 million, he has only 2 goals. Mikel Merino, who came as a midfielder at Arsenal, has 4 goals.
Okay.
Has 4 goals.
Okay.
So there's a huge problem at Manchester United, and
that's
Ruben Amorim has to have a tactical switch.
Yes.
You cannot bring in a boy, Chido Obi Martin, who's a former Arsenal player, who's scoring hat-tricks every other match day and in the under-18s in the Premier League 2. You bring him for only 3 minutes while you want to get a goal to maybe get a point in that match or even win that match. So for Ruben Amorim, I think he's punching above his weight. And if he gets successful, because the media itself will kick him out. The media in England is very harsh and can be very harsh to him because when he came, he was speaking very highly that we need this and we need that. And some of the big players who've been chasing away coaches in that team, he chased him away. I'm talking about Raheem Sterling. You can see Jadon Sancho. You remember his statement after Rashford went to Aston Villa.
Yes.
He said, freedom at last. You see, so the coach has to win the dressing room. Right now, he does not have the control of the dressing room. Just like Arocho said, a coach has to be a leader or a father figure in that changing room. And for Ruben Amorim, he does not have full charge of that changing room.
No, I have to respond.
Actually, let us listen to the fans.
There's no way.
Respond. Let us listen to what the fans are saying.
Okay.
Then we come back.
But I have to
You
respond.
respond. It's okay.
Please.
Okay.
Yes.
No.
All right. Let us to say about this. I love to rudi about Ondele. And also remember the question of the day. Our SMS number is 22047. Also get interactive on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, X, everywhere. Tuandikie. Do you think Gor Mahia are going to retain the FKFPL trophy this season? But in the meantime, wacha tusikie mnasemaje kuhusu game.
Kwa upande pia wa EPL siwezi sema tu Liverpool wachukue kwa sababu watakuwa wametukaribia sana. Kwa upande wa hii Premier League watakuwa wametukaribia, na tukiangalia kwa Champions League wametuchapa hapo. Sasa mimi naweza sema nani wachukue, hata kama Man City wachukue. Mimi naona sio mbaya.
Mbona sio Arsenal?
Arsenal ni madui wetu, tutaweza kushabikia kabisa hata siku moja. Kabisa haiwezi. Unaona sasa. Sasa yangu mimi niyo tu nataka Liverpool wa lose hiyo, na sisi washabikia kabisa. Sisi nataka washinde, yani short yani. Nataka nani ndo washinde Manchester, hata kama hizo game zetu zitakuwa tuna win zote. Lakini kivyovyote vile Manchester City yashinde hii Premier League. Maana kwa ndo wanaonekana karibu wataweka ninio. Nimeona jana ile game walicheza, walikuja vizuri sana, walifunga Newcastle. Sasa tunaamini kabisa ndio wameanza, na tunaona kishinda hizi zote zimebaki na Liverpool close.
Mimi kama fan wa Manchester pia siwezi kubali Manchester washinde, Liverpool washinde hiyo kombe juu. Tutakuwa na nini, watakuwa kwenye competition ya hizo kombe za EPL, tutatoshana hizo kombe za EPL. So mimi naweza sema kama Bournemouth, mimi naweza sasa nazishabikia Bournemouth kwa sababu gani? Wana mchezo mzuri sasa. So kama wao naweza sema the more wanavyoendelea kucheza game poa sasa, wakishinda pia tunasema pia ni fit. Kwa sababu gani? Hatutaki competition na Liverpool sisi ama Arsenal. Juu Arsenal tayari kwanza yeye ndo adui wetu, si kama mashabiki wa Manchester.
Mimi naona Arsenal watabeba ile kombe. Sababu wamejiondoa kwa FA, wamejiondoa kwa FA na wamejiondoa kwa Carabao. Wameondolewa kwa Carabao. Sasa wanataka wabebe UEFA na watabeba hata ligi pia. Ule Merino akishikilia striker mzuri pale, Arsenal kwanza ndio itakuwa form zaidi. Hata Havertz venye mpata injury, Gabriel Jesus pia kuna injury. Sasa huyo Torino venye atashikilia pale, hawili atafight sana.
All right, hayo ni maoni ya mashabiki huko nje. Wengi wa Manchester wanasema basi hata heri Bournemouth waishinde. Lakini wameongea wa mwisho, kura kwako. Wewe uko sawa. Arsenal ishinde hii kitu, watu wanyamaze. Talking of Liverpool na Arsenal kushindana hapo mbele. Liverpool ni wale watu tunangojea waanguke, hawaanguki. Midweek kidogo Everton wakatusaidia wakawashika draw. Yesterday we all thought Wolves maybe could show us something, but Liverpool behaved like champions. They got the 3 points. Do you expect the next fixtures wanacheza is Aston Villa, City, Newcastle, back to back in 3 days. Do you expect them to draw points? Arocho?
No, I'm not expecting Liverpool to draw points. But before I get into Liverpool, I think I need to respond to what
okay.
It cannot go unchallenged, because he's talking about Manchester United, then he brings in an Arsenal as a sensational player. But look at the fact that before this match, Tottenham had not won in the last 6 or so home matches.
Since November.
Yes, since November. They've not home match. They had lost 5. I think they picked 2 draws. And then they come and beat. It just vindicates my initial statement that Manchester United are not doing well. But coming back to your question, Sioni Liverpool can drop points.
Only drop points against Everton
that for
just
me,
the other day.
It was a derby. You know, when Liverpool is playing Everton, it's so big. I attended, I think in 2019, I attended the Merseyside derby, Liverpool against Everton. My friend, it's not a, see game 2, it's a big thing. Because these people are so, they are rivals that, the atmosphere is totally different. So that match for me is a totally different match. Is, for example, you can equate it to a match where Gor is playing FC Leopards here in Kenya. Totally different ball game, totally different results. So for me, that was not just any other league match. Subsequent matches, itakuwa ngumu sana for Liverpool to drop their points because they're on a roll, and look at the way they might not play well. And this takes me back, I think it's 2016, when Leicester won the league.
Yeah, 2016.
Leicester won the league without, at times they're not playing well. Very, very bad match, but they could collect the 3 points. That might be happening in Liverpool. But them dropping points might not be easy because they are on a roll, and the current match form at Liverpool is excellent. The same happens at Arsenal. Arsenal might not drop points in zile games because of the current form that they're enjoying. So anybody who is expecting that Liverpool will drop points or Arsenal will drop points, that guy will have to wait for long.
Barandinya, do you agree with Harocho? Akisema Liverpool want to draw points, but we've seen them struggle the last 2 games. They struggled against Everton, they've struggled against Wolves. The next 3 games they're playing are very hard games. Do you expect any different result?
If there's a team I'll be able to give a positive note this season, it's Liverpool. There is a consistency that is happening, despite the 1 or 2 matches. But they have really been consistent this time round. And this team that is currently in Liverpool is totally in a different level. Despite them not maybe 1 or 2, but there's a consistency that we don't expect them to lose in the next few matches coming. So I don't know, but I'm seeing a positive trend. Seeing a positive trend on them.
From a referee perspective, it is being said in football corners that Liverpool is receiving favoritism from referees. From your perspective, like yesterday we saw, they gave Liverpool a penalty that was not a penalty. Thank God VAR overruled it, but still the second penalty was still debatable. And we've seen such instances. For example, in the Everton game, the coach was shown a straight red, meaning he should be out of the
Villa game
touchline for 2 games. Right? But the FA are still deliberating on when to implement this. All right. If it was any other coach, it would have taken effect immediately. It's a red card. It takes effect immediately. Why is it that the Anslot red card has to wait for FA to deliberate?
Decision of the organizing body. But for example, the one that you brought about the penalty that was overruled by the VAR. I looked at, immediately that penalty was given, I looked at the position of the referee. The angle where the referee was, he thought it was a penalty. But it's good now we have technology. That's why I've been saying consistently in these shows that the more we invest on the VAR technology, it will be able to help us. Because on human face, I also thought it was a penalty, only because of the position of the referee at that moment where he was during the penalty. So these things keep on changing, but with the VAR now, we are able to try to solve the problem. Despite they'll not end, issues will still come up. Other penalties will be given this coming week. But to eliminate them, it's not that Liverpool is being helped. No, it's an error that normally occurs in the field.
Only errors. These errors are only happening when Liverpool is playing.
I want to add something to ask him, and I think this will help us as players and the guys involved in the game. You're talking about the position of the referee. Was he at the right position? Was it that he was slow in moving into his position?
Normally there's a way referees run in the field of pitch. Others have drawn an S movement, others draw X movement. We have different systems of running in the field.
Yes.
I looked at the referee, he was caught off guard. And where he was not near the ball.
Yes.
And therefore, in his angle,
yes,
a penalty was a decision of penalty. He took a decision, which was a wrong decision. That's why it's very important for the referee to understand how he runs in the field of play. The position was, he totally lost it, because in the field of play, most good referees will do an S system.
Yes.
That means he covers the whole field. But where he was totally off the position,
yes,
to get a good view of the penalty, which he didn't.
I would imagine if I found myself in an off-guard position, I would throw my eyes at my linesman. Was it a pen? Was it a pen? Before I make the decision?
Unfortunately for penalty decisions,
yes,
not the assistant referee.
It's you.
You know, I think...
as you mentioned, the Liverpool game, bringing Arsenal as well, because of time.
I think Bonandinya is one of the most honest referees I've ever seen, yes, since my playing days, and even now, the way he's talking. Yes. You know, it's very rare when you find a former referee or a current referee criticizing, yes, another referee.
Yes.
They are always, and I always admire this about referees, they're always one unit. Yes. They always protect each other. But you see, Bonandinya has been honest. He said there was a mistake there. Yes. You see, the VAR, the main purpose of it was to curb an obvious human error. Yes. To curb human error. That's what happened yesterday. They did well taking him to the monitor for the overruled penalty. What about the first penalty? Why did they send him to the monitor also? Because it was a very contentious one. When Luis Diaz was running for that ball, he pushed, yes, the defender. Yes. The defender, when he was trying to clear that ball, he was off position because he was pushed a little bit. But VAR did not look at that push, don't look at that foul. Yes. They instead looked at the contact with the goalkeeper, of which it was one of his leg. He trailed one of his leg. If they had sent the referee to the monitor, the referee should have seen that mistake and should have overruled that that decision. But you see, what I've understood in England, there are referees who are of a higher caliber than, yes, others.
But that's
and
it's
more about ego. Even Mike Dean, the former referee in Premier League, yes, he said that sometimes when you see a referee of high caliber and he has made not a good decision or a mistake, the other referee who's at the VAR, remember, even behind the VAR, they're still humans.
Yes.
Other referees in England, yes, of which I believe they're supposed to be independent away from the PGMOL. But the referees, they find it hard to overrule this high-profile referee. Maybe this is a high-profile referee.
Like the Lewis Kelly red card.
Exactly. Yes. Like Michael Oliver. Yes. The referee who was at the VAR was Darren England. He could not overrule him because he's a high-profile referee. So and it's all about
no. I think
okay, let the referee respond.
Before I want to tackle something that Innocent is saying, yes, which I think either it is incorrect or maybe he needs to get it right.
Yes.
When a decision is made on the field, yes, and the referee has made a decision, and the VAR has seen differently from the decision that he has made, yes, the VAR guys tells the referee to come and view, yes, and that's make what I wanted to the decision, yes, not the VAR fellows.
Yes, that's true.
The decision has to be made by,
yes, that's true.
The final decision.
That is it. The VAR will call you.
They did not send the referee to the monitor.
Come check. We think you've made a clear and obvious mistake. All right. So when you're coming to look at the monitors, the VAR have already communicated with you. They've told you, come see, yes, what we are seeing, yes, because we think we are seeing it different from what you've seen.
Yes.
All right. So when you go there, you already are in doubt of your decision, because tell me how many times have referees gone to the monitor and stuck by their decision?
We say it in the classes when we are teaching young referees that when you are the VAR fellows will give an opinion.
Yes.
They just offer an advice. But at the end of the day,
the ultimate decision.
At the end of the day, yes, you take the responsibility.
Thank you. Okay, Arocho, I know Arocho, I know you're a student of English. Yeah, please finish this one for me. Finish this statement for me. A king's request is a command. True or false?
I don't know.
Come on. No, you want to come argument, Rocho. If request is a command. If VR is calling you the monitor for their opinion, the opinion is a decision.
No, wait.
It is just unwritten.
It's a question that I'd like to pose to Dinya so that he can explain it more.
Yes.
You know, the ultimate decision is squarely on the referee.
That's true.
Nobody else. Anybody who is monitoring the VR are just giving an advice. And that's why you see, like in the World Cup, women under 17, they tried to come up with a new rule. They're trying to experiment a new rule where you're only given 3 times to make a call as a coach.
Yes.
You can make a call and say, I need the VR's intervention. Yes. It has not been brought into the normal game, but they were trying it in the World Cup under 17, where if you as a coach, you perceive something to be contentious, you will raise it with the matchcom. And immediately you raise it, the game will be stopped, and they will go and try and look at it. And I think the process is still in a phase where we are still trying to see where in trial and the errors we are seeing. But ultimately, I'll support what Ndinya is saying. The center referee, his confusion is final. He can go to the monitor and see and overrule everybody and say, yes, I'm seeing this, but I am the referee. This is the decision.
All right.
I think I'm right there.
You're right. That's exactly the way Innocent was saying.
Yes.
That the other penalty for Liverpool should not have been given because there was a push before that.
Yes.
It is now the responsibility, what the VAR fellows will tell the referee is...
I think there's something here.
There's something here before that.
Yes.
Before that contact, there was an incident.
Okay.
There was an incident. So it is upon the center man to make ultimate decision.
I want to challenge that, but I don't have time, because it is also their prerogative. For example, in that challenge, it is the VAR prerogative to decide if that was enough contact that for them to call the referee or not. So, because if VAR had considered that to be enough contact for the defender being pushed, then they would have called the referee. But they made a decision that that was not enough contact. So they are influencing the game without making decisions. All right. Our City back.
It's a topic.
Our City back.
City are back.
Yes.
And I was saying it time and time again that Manchester City was Rodri and Rodri is Manchester City. But they've replaced someone who's akin to Rodri, someone who moves like Rodri, someone who controls the tempo of the game like an orchestrator, the way Rodri used to do, and they have that in Nico Gonzalez. Yes. In the first match, I said that he got injured during halftime and he didn't play the game against Real Madrid. Yes. To put this into context, against Real Madrid, Manchester City conceded 20 attempts towards goal with 8 on target. Against Newcastle, who have been high-flying this season, they conceded only 3 attempts with only 1 on target. So you see, there is a difference right now in the way Manchester City are playing, and Pep Guardiola has found his replacement in Rodri, in Nico Gonzalez. And right now, that game against Real Madrid, the second leg, it will be very tough for Real Madrid. And against Liverpool at the weekend, I mean, Manchester City have gotten form at the right moment. I'm speaking this as an Arsenal fan. At the right moment.
Yes.
Because that game against Liverpool, it will be very tough for either team. And if Manchester City beats Liverpool, if Aston Villa beats Liverpool, those are 6 points dropped in 1 week. If Arsenal takes advantage, of which it has not been forthcoming, whenever Liverpool drops points, Arsenal has not been taking advantage. But we saw when they dropped points against Everton, Arsenal collected maximum points against Leicester City. So Arsenal has a home game against West Ham at the weekend. Yes. Having a game at hand because Liverpool is playing on Wednesday against Aston Villa away from home. Yes. So this week might be very crucial for Liverpool. And I am telling you this without fear or favor. there will be contentious decisions between those two matches.
Yes.
Against Aston Villa and against
That's obvious.
Manchester City. There will be contentious decisions
In favor of Liverpool.
In favor of Liverpool. I will
okay.
tell you that
No.
Let us talk
very
about
true.
Marmoush.
It happened last year.
Marmoush
It happened.
Tell me about Omar Marmoush.
Fabulous. Getting the goals that he got. For me, is bringing in fresh bread. But I need to respond to what...
we need to come home.
No. You know, Tuso is...
You don't have to respond to everything.
No. He's misleading the house. Please.
Okay.
I need to respond.
Okay, respond,
You
Arocho.
know, it will be very,
Respond
it will be very inhuman.
Yes.
For your statement here and unresponded to.
Unchallenged.
Yes, unchallenged. You know,
Okay, take it away.
whatever he's trying to say, he's trying to push everything to lean towards
Liverpool.
Arsenal.
Big
Because he's
favourite.
saying that Liverpool is going to be favored.
Yes.
But this is
Guys,
something that we've seen
let me
from
tell you.
last season.
These are big matches.
Yes.
Big matches will always come with contentious decisions. The referee will tell you that.
Yes.
You know, these are not small matches. When Arsenal is playing West Ham, surely that's a derby. It's a big match.
Yes.
When Liverpool is playing Man City, you expect issues. So my friend from Arsenal,
Yes.
you know, Arsenal fans are like, you see inaitwa nini, this kakambweha, you know kakambweha? When you're walking, the kakambweha feels that
It's
you are,
fizzy.
it's fizzy, not kakambweha. Your hand is going to fall. There is no falling of Liverpool's hand.
Okay.
This guy.
Okay, Bonandinya. We have seen referees making the game about themselves. We do hope that will happen during midweek and during the weekend when Liverpool play City. Now let us come home.
Yes.
There was the Mara Sugar and FC Leopards game.
Yes.
There were two penalties that were given. I want a referee's perspective.
Yes.
In the first penalty was against FC Leopards, where Ovela was judged to have handled the ball while he was trying to clear it. Now, according to the rules of the game, is that a penalty?
I watched that penalty. I call it penalty because it was given by the referee.
Yes.
The referee gave a penalty. Unfortunately, and I've said this, and I'm repeating again today,
Yes.
the people who are helping us in broadcasting these matches, please, let's get an extra camera.
Yes.
When we depend on one angle
Yes.
of viewing the penalty where the referees are giving penalties, it will be controversial until the end of the league. It's a very simple thing for us to invest on an extra camera at 23 meters from the goal line.
Yes.
From the goal line, 23 meters away. That is the place where incidents are happening when strikers want to score.
Yes.
When you look, normally when a referee gives a penalty, I look at the position where the referee is. That's the first thing I do.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the cameras we have that are being positioned
Yes.
will not show you even the next angle.
Yes.
So it's becoming controversial. We are going with what we have seen. What I saw is a penalty. They are saying there's no contact. They are saying there's no handball completely. Others have even interpreted that to say it's ball to hand.
Yes.
That's what somebody was telling me yesterday, that that's a ball to hand. It's debatable. So way forward, we need to have 2 more cameras in that angle. It will be able to help us. Otherwise, it will be contentious until the end of the league.
What I like about Ndinya is very experienced. In fact, I think they are the only 2 referees who have gone to FIFA, to the highest level of FIFA officiating in this country. And one is Ndinya. And when he talks about an extra camera or cameras to give us different views, he knows what he's talking about. And this is the conversation that I normally like. When experts bring in their input to better the game. And this is where the previous federation failed. Football is about discussion. Once the season is over, we need to sit down as stakeholders. Him with his experience, coaches with their experience. We bring even the coaches, Kenyan coaches who are doing it outside, the Matanos of this world. We bring in players who are playing outside. We bring in journalists so that the entire football fraternity meets and we deliberate. When we deliberate and the powers that be listen to what Ndinya is saying, they will act because now they will sit. From my perspective as a journalist, I had not seen what he had seen. But because he's an expert, and he's been in the top level of football in the world, he knows that we need to have several cameras so that can give us different angles. And that's why you see football in England is more lucrative. and it's more attractive because there are more angles. You're given more than 3 angles.
Yes.
And of course, when you're given 3 angles, the first angle you might see things differently. The second, and ultimately when you see the third angle, you'll have a different perspective of the game. So I think this is a very important conversation when we have people like Ndinya and their input in the game.
All right.
If I can weigh in on that.
Add to the next penalty now that was for FC Leopards.
If I can,
people
also,
are arguing that the striker was not in control of the ball, but also there was contact from the goalkeeper. You know, he brought the player down inside the box. Was it a penalty also?
It was definitely a penalty. There was contact, and he was gunning for the ball. So there was definite contact. And if there's contact in and around the box or inside the box, then there's a foul given, and that's definitely was a penalty. And when you look at Europe, before they brought in VAR, it took time to implement VAR first because they were looking at ways in which they can up their game in terms of officiating, and they brought in third assistant referee, the ones who are behind the post. And I think that is an angle Kenya can start going into or looking into, if I can advise the federation. Because when we introduced the third assistant referee, then the scuffles in and around the 18-yard box will be taken care of. The referee will have a third eye with a third assistant referee, because definitely if we started talking about VAR right now, it will be a little bit expensive. I mean, if we can't afford another angle for
will it
in
be
the cameras
than the referee being compromised?
Definitely,
the game.
You know,
if you bring him in there, it means now he has his opinion is very heavy.
You see, when there's a third assistant referee and the center referee has another eye at the goal post, then it means there's a very minimal margin for errors.
For error.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you. Let us talk about Kenya Police. They do not seem to be slowing down. Brought in a very lethal striker and scored in his debut. Gor Mahia were held to a barren draw. Kidogo tuliona kumbe ukishiba samaki pombe kuleweshi. What do you think? Is this thing for Kenya Police to lose?
No, the league is still open. The league is still open. I am seeing a very minimal, very small margin in terms of points. Gor Mahia they still have one match ahead, but if you look at the consistency of Police now, the league is still open. Who is going to win it? Nobody knows. Nobody knows as we speak, because the rate at which Police is going. And I look back at the history of Gor Mahia, then we have a battle to come. There's a big battle coming on, but the margin is minimal, very small, very small.
Arocho, bado pia unasema ligi iko open, but when it comes to Liverpool unasema ligi imeenda, but Police have a healthy lead.
Well, there are 2 things that are happening at Police. One, they have a sound leadership in their chairman, Nyale Munga. Nyale Munga is a leader who is so patient. You know, I think this is their 3rd season. And you know, when Police came into the league, they brought in the big names of this world. They brought in the Musa Mohammeds of this world. They brought in players that were somehow perceived as moving into their retire. They reinvented these players, and now they are reaping. The other thing that is giving Police an edge over the rest is the new coach. I like the fact that the coach is so composed. Look at the fact that since he came in, I think they've dropped 6 points. They've drawn 3 matches. I think that's the only time that they've not picked wins. And the consistency at Police FC, for me, is so worrying. It is worrying because Gor Mahia have been on and off. They brought in a new coach who, for me, I don't know if it's my own perception, but he's too dramatic on his bench. He needs to cool down. He needs to take control of himself. You know, as a coach, you're not a what? How do I even describe him? There are a lot of theatrics that he has up on the bench. He needs to settle down.
It reminds me of Slavko Logarusik.
Guys,
he was very
dramatic. You have to take best practices.
Yes.
Look at coaches all over the world. They are composed. Because you are the leader there. There are certain things that you do. I think I saw him in the first match. He was too dramatic on that bench. he needs to cool down as a coach and be a leader. Yes. But coming back to the question of the day, I don't think that Gor Mahia can sit comfortably and say that they're going to win the league. Mm-hmm. The challenge will come from none other than police. Yes. Tusker on and off. I think that the team is too big for Okere, if you ask me. He's been
2 points off Kenya Police.
Yes, but the consistency that Matano had in this team, you cannot compare with what Okere is producing.
Big shoes that need to be filled.
Yes, okay, he might be feeling it, but initially it's big for him. My team KCB, I think that there's a big problem at the bank. We were leading the league. Now look at us. We are doing number 5, and things are not well. The other team that is doing so well is and needs to be given kudos is FC Leopards. Yes. Fred Ambani is doing so well at FC Leopards. Yeah. I fear that FC Leopards fans will start their kawaida thing. Mm-hmm. You know, when they kicked Tom Juma out of FC Leopards, I felt so bad. They never gave Tom Juma time. Mm-hmm. Fred is doing a marvelous job. FC Leopards election is coming soon, which for me will tilt this boat. And then when we come back next season, they'll want Fred Ambani out. I don't know what's wrong with FC Leopards fans.
Depends, he might win the league for them.
I'll tell you.
27 more years.
I'll tell you before Innocent talks. I'll tell you one thing.
Yes.
I've been in Kenya football for quite some time now. The moment there is an issue in the dressing room, in these clubs, the moment there is an issue in the dressing room, it reflects what happens in the pitch. What is happening currently at the police, they have what I call healthy dressing room.
There's cohesion.
There's cohesion. There is peace. There is leadership. Then it reflects in the field. That's what happens in Kenya Premier League. You know, and it has been like that. And as we are saying, the big boys, AFC Leopards, after the so-called election that is coming, what Ambani has done, 3, 4, 5, I think 4 matches.
Yes,
four
good.
matches, and he's been winning them.
Yes.
So when the elections come and somebody else comes on board,
they'll water it down.
That will be the end of it.
You know, that's why I have a problem.
All right.
They will water all this down.
So now we have to wind up. Motiso, in 30 seconds, your final words. What do you expect during the midweek and the weekend?
Well, I really expect, I'm expecting Liverpool to drop points. It will be very interesting matches against Aston Villa away from home. Yes. And also looking forward for that crunch match against Manchester City. Remember last season, this a stab on also Arocho when he was responding to me. Mm-hmm. Manchester City, when they were playing against Liverpool, it was towards the end of the season. Yes. If they had lost that game, you remember when Jeremy Doku had a flying kick on the chest of McAllister and no penalty was given. It was towards the end of the match. The game was drawn. Game was ending at 1-1. It was 1-0 draw. And if they had been given that penalty, I'm sure Salah would have buried that in, and Arsenal would have won the league. So it will be a really interesting week for both Liverpool and Arsenal in the title race.
Be very careful. Yes, I'm giving. Yes, be very careful when responding to me. But now let me go. Let me come back.
30 seconds.
I'm not going to give a red card this time round. I'm going to give flowers. Yes. In the spirit of Valentine this week to the fans of Shabana FC. You know, there's something that is happening in Kisii that very few people are seeing. You know, at the moment, Shabana, any match, we don't raise below 1 million. And that's a record in Kenya. Anytime Shabana is playing at Gusii, we raise more than 1 million. So this flower goes to my fellow fans in Kisii, and I believe that we are going to move the bar to 2 million and become the best supported team in Kenya.
We cannot talk about Shabana without talking
about
the technical bench.
Responding to
the technical bench.
Wait, guys,
we expect good decisions this time.
Yes.
Premier League and also local league, because we are having derbies in Premier League, and also good matches in the Kenya Premier. We want to wish everybody the best, because everything will be seen at the end of the week.
All right. Thank you very much. I mean, for my punch today, mimi nataka kuambia FC Leopards, big up on yourself. You're doing something we've been waiting for a very long time, and we are seeing it happening right now. Please keep doing that and give Ambani time. Let us see where it takes you this season. Sindio? All right, guys. It's been amazing. It's been a beautiful Monday morning discussion about sports. Kama timu yako inasuasua kama Chelsea, don't worry yourself. There's always next time kupigwa tena. Okay, since we leave it here. Keep it luck, because in a little while, Arno Dida shall be here discussing leveraging media and marketing to drive economic growth. hapa kwenye TV47. We said ukigusa remote ni kuongeza sauti, si ndio? Keep it luck.